if the paychecks and the income kept rolling in every month, but you didn't have to go to work? Would you be content with that scenario for the rest of your life?
Welcome to the Freedom Point Real Estate Podcast, where we talk about creating more time freedom through passive real estate investing. Passive investing in real estate challenges conventional investment wisdom. We are passionate about learning and sharing resources with others who are ready to transform their investing mindset. Quick disclaimer as always, I am not a CPA, I am not an attorney or a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, not telling you or anyone else what to do. The views and opinions expressed in these podcasts are provided for education and informational purposes only and are not necessarily the views of my employer, ADP. I'm glad you're here. Now let's dig in.
How much is enough money? Welcome back, Freedom Point listeners. I'm your host, Jeremy Dyer. And in today's episode, we're talking about how much money is enough. And to answer this question, we're talking about income and specifically passive income. There's no specific answer to how much is enough. It depends on your desired lifestyle and what it would cost to live that desired lifestyle. With that in mind, as you probably know, there's endless amounts of articles and blogs and formulas out there to help you determine how much money is enough to retire. The problem is most of these are based off of the stock market, which is where most people are investing their money. And a lot of this has to do with a net worth focus. So with our theme for this episode in mind, I figured I would show you how to figure out how much is enough based off of passive income, something that very few people ever talk about. So I'm going to share with you some steps on how to determine how much is enough. First, think about the hierarchy of income, and at the bottom is called self-sufficiency. This is where somebody can live, basically support their living costs on an active income source, like a job, and will be someone who is nearly paycheck to paycheck. As you move up the hierarchy with a little more income, you find stability, which is where you can eliminate bad debt and maybe have a little bit of cash in the bank. Above this level, I call flexibility. This is where you have more than just a little cash cushion for emergencies in the bank. You could perhaps take a year off of work, travel more, or pivot careers, or just have more flexibility over your lifestyle. Above this level, financial independence. This is where you can live off your income that your investments generate. And above financial independence is what I call financial abundance. And this, quite frankly, is where money is no longer a concern. You have more than you'll ever need. It's usually a stage of giving back because you can't possibly spend the amount of money that you're bringing in. So this brings us to step number one, and that's to consider what is your goal, frankly. Not everybody strives for financial abundance. Not everybody desires financial independence. Some people are quite content with their career. They love what they do, but it might be nice to have flexibility of lifestyle where they could take a break for a while and come back to it, or maybe work part-time instead of full-time. Others are just looking to eliminate bad debt, have a little cash cushion in the bank, while others seek that work optional lifestyle and that financial independence number. So number one is to consider what goal you're looking to achieve. Now that brings us to number two. And number two is to consider the current income that you have through your job or any investments that you have. Is it enough? Think about if the paychecks and the income kept rolling in every month, but you didn't have to go to work. Would you be content with that scenario for the rest of your life? Are you able to live the optimal lifestyle that you desire based off that income? And the answer is going to be different for everyone. Some people might be making an abundance of income and say, I could live off less than what I'm currently making. Whereas others would say, no, I'm at the beginning stages of my career. I just need a much higher income as there's much more that I want to accomplish in life. Bottom line is you do you and decide what income would be sufficient to live the lifestyle you're looking to achieve. Before we jump right into step number 3, I wanted to share a story with you for a little bit of perspective and additional context. So let's say there's a high-performing sales professional, and he's 22 years old, just graduated from college, and he works himself up from bottom to top at his company. And he puts in 15 years, and at this point, he's nearing 40 years old. He's got a handful of stock options and a nice lucrative 401k. His net worth is going to be in the ballpark of, let's say, $2 million. And he thinks to himself, I'm burned out. I'm tired of this. I don't see much more advancement here, and I'm going to branch away and create my own company. And he does just that. He launches his company from scratch, dedicates the next decade to building it up, and he's able to successfully secure a sale of his business for $5 million. Now, between his net worth, his previous investments, and the sale of his company, his net worth is approaching $10 million. At this point, his age is nearing 50, and he says to himself, well, that went really well. That was exciting. Let me do that again. I'm going to start another business, and he does just that. So this time, he wants to go bigger. He wants to get the big payday. He's dedicated to putting in 15 years of time to building up his firm. He does just that. And his age now is nearing 65, and he secures the sale of his business for $10 million. Now, adding up his previous net worth and assets and the sale of his business, his net worth is nearing $25 million at this point, and he decides it's time to retire. I'm 65, I put in the work, and I'm done. Now, if you're listening to the story, you might think, hey, this sounds pretty good. It's a great success story, the great American dream, right? The dilemma is when we're younger, we seek money. But when we're older, we seek youth. And the problem with that is you can always make and create more money, but you can never get your youth back. You cannot create more time. Now, here's a couple of takeaways from the story to consider. Number one, could this individual have retired at age 40, where he was leaving the corporate world with approximately $2 million of net worth? Well, let's suppose he had taken $500,000 out of his net worth, bought a house, paid it off, and then invested the remaining $1.5 million into passive income producing assets. And for simple math, we'll use the 8% yield per year. He'd have approximately $120,000 per year in passive income and a paid off house, perhaps at a low cost of living. Now, this could have allowed him to spend more time with his friends and family, or travel, or just do the things that most of us can do when we're younger as compared to putting them off until an unknown age in the future. And if that scenario doesn't resonate with you, consider this individual was 50 years old and had an approximate net worth of $10 million. Perhaps he took $1 million out of his net worth, bought a house, paid it off in cash, and invested the remaining $9 million into passive income producing assets, assuming the same 8% annualized yield that would give him approximately $700,000 per year in passive income while still being able to retire at age 50. The point of this story is to consider what's important to you. Is it money? Is it net worth? Is it freedom? Is it time with your friends and family? I call this scenario the success cycle. And it's really easy to get caught up in the success cycle, especially here in America, where it's spread all throughout our culture. Work, work, work until when? Is it more money or more success that you're chasing? What is your desired outcome? What are you looking to get out of life? There is no specific answer to how much is enough. It depends on you and what it would cost to live that desired lifestyle. So I encourage you to keep an eye out and have a general awareness for this crossover moment in your life. Money may be unlimited, but your time is limited. Thank you for joining the Freedom Point podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Dyer. We truly appreciate you being here. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you for hanging out with us today and for listening to the Freedom Point podcast, powered by Starting Point Capital. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Nothing said on this show should be considered financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please consult with a professional. This show is copyrighted by the Freedom Point podcast. Written permissions must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting. If you're interested in connecting, you can find contact information at startingpointcapital.com.